Not sure really how we want to start it, but thought it would be useful to talk through a few areas of how we're taking things forward. So, Love Where You Live, from my perspective, I see it as a social movement, how we get the community enthused and together, working for its own ends, because people really identify with where they live. And terms like social movement are a bit jargony, but I see it's not an approach and a campaign doesn't quite fit. It is about how do you get that social interaction.
And we've had all sorts of things that have been happening around that particular area, from work on some of the allotments, from businesses, and it's almost like excited people, enabled people to get behind something and feel that they're making a difference.
So one of the key things, and I think people will see quite a lot, and it's kind of interesting to say when did it start, because I think people in Barnsley have been doing this for quite a while, but we're trying to do it at a bigger scale. So when people see that somewhere's really messy, why not pick up the litter?
And I think we've had, fabulous examples around local action of late. Marvellous stuff around the work that we've done with businesses, the work that we've done with tenants and residents associations, around, again, it could be environmental improvements, it could be about working with the schools, so, trying to stitch things together and connect things together, because a lot of our work's been about relationship connections, really. Schools want to see the kids coming to school and thinking about healthy eating, so the healthier adults going forward. Some of the work that we've been trying to do is to say, okay then, well, how could we use some of the land around the school differently? Around growing schemes, how can we get the kids involved in planting, watching the seeds grow, utilising some of that product. So it's really about capturing imagination, isn't it?
Yeah, I think some really good examples that link to that, because I think as Wendy said, there are two core areas that we've concentrated on. One certainly is about grow it, and I think what we've seen is schools developing allotment schemes within school sites, so that young people are beginning to look at how you can actually create and grow your own food, but then cook it, so they're eating, if you like, fresh vegetables rather than ready-made meals, which we know will affect obesity. But actually there's also a cost issue. Sometimes growing your food can actually be a very cost-productive way of working.
Together, do you think that we can change things for the better? And I would say, we always say, don't we, Martin, that it is together we are all better, actually, and this isn't about me, it's not about Martin, it's not about one particular individual. It really is about that movement for change together with our communities, and part of that, I think, is about thinking about what our role is. I think as the council going forward, we are a key player in this borough. The NHS are a key contributor in this borough, as are the banking industry and many other segments of our community. But we have to think quite differently about what our relationships are going forward and how we build different relationships.
I think the ward alliances are helping with that, though, because I think it's changing from where, if you like, council members felt that they were in charge of their communities. They're one of the civic leaders working with others, and I think therefore in terms of what we are beginning to see is communities taking more of a leadership role. So
there is so much to do. There's no point, I think, either of us sitting here and thinking that this is an overnight transition, that from where we are now, if we were to look forward in terms of next 12 months, that everything would be hunky-dory, we'd have mass revolution and everybody's going to be volunteering, and wow, what a marvellous place. I think what we're trying to do, I think, now is to build a collective vision and a picture about what would stronger, resilient communities feel like in Barnsley for us all. What would we be seeing, hearing, feeling, those sorts of things, really, to try and bring it to life a bit more, and then really share, I think, some of the change, I think, that we need to create over this next period. And some of that will be about culture in organisations. Some of it might be about individuals. There's no point pretending that won't be the case, because it will. Some of it might be about policy, some of it might be about procedure, Some of it might be just about how we work together. Some of it might be about governance and structures, and we need to start to figure this out and shape it, I think, together. And we're at that sort of momentum really, at a bit of that cliff edge where we've got lots of ideas and lots of suggestions, lots of worries, and we're out sort of, and then okay, need to settle that down and to say, okay, what is it? What are the key things we need to be focusing on over the next period?